So let's get to the topic. Ready to take notes. I'm all set up here. I'll show you guys because I did a scope earlier today. You can catch it earlier where I was walking through the park and I was talking about creating your own Periscope portfolio. And I'll just explain before I start showing you guys all the screens. Essentially, when you're scoping, when you're on Periscope, you're creating disappearing content. And I understand that you definitely can download your video, but some people are scoping 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I don't know, so many times a day. And that's a lot of content to be processing and trying to figure out. So I came up with a really easy way for you to conserve maybe some highlights of your scopes and create a Periscope portfolio. The reason that you want to do that is because once your content has disappeared, let's say you don't broadcast for a day or two, no one's going to have any way of really referencing what your scopes are like, what you're highlighting. So I think I'm a big fan of owning your content, first of all, and saving your content and repurposing your content. So when you save to your camera roll, you can definitely upload that to a YouTube. That's the easy way to go. And then you can post that on your blog or in different places. So that's, I mean, a pretty straightforward, simple way to do this. But at the same time, if you upload to YouTube, someone might end up watching a scope that's going to last, I don't know, 20 minutes, and they can't even see the contents or any of the hearts. So it can be a bit of a problem. The discussion in Periscope, I find, is really entertaining when you're in it and you're able to participate when you're live. But when you're not live, it's a little bit frustrating. And it's one of the things on my wish list for Periscope, that they allow people watching. Thank you so much for the hearts. That they allow people watching and rebroadcast, maybe to insert comments. And maybe the comments don't have to be public if that's going to be too complicated. Thank you so much for inviting followers, David. I really appreciate it. Broadcast could put comments in, and at least if the broadcaster could see them, if it's too complex. You have different options to save your content and create what I'd like to suggest to you is a Periscope portfolio, and or a Periscope gallery where you can put together snapshots of your videos so that people can go there and you can direct people there. You can embed it on your website, or if you don't have a website, just use one of these tools and curate them together there so that people can see what kind of content you're doing, and maybe catch up if they've missed you for a few days. People can't watch Periscope every single day, but they might become loyal followers. So thank you so much for all the hearts, and thank you all for joining. I know, like, if I create a place for your community to catch up on your scopes and also create highlights of scopes so that people don't have to sit. So Perfect Video is an app. And there's a free version and there's a paid version. I think the paid version is probably about $4, but the free version is perfectly fine. And I'll also do the same thing for Flipagram, which is the next app I want to draw your attention to. So here's my Flipagram, and there's a scope that I did yesterday in the rain. But it's not my whole scope, because my whole scope was half an hour. Essentially what it is, it's what I considered the highlights. It took me about maybe 5 to 10 minutes to do this, and people can just go and they can see this later.
I don't know. Hey, Darren, it's great to see you.
You can make a really good scope. I'll turn off the volume so you guys don't have to hear it too much.
Well,
This Flipagram is really only a few minutes long. However, it's taken the highlights and the main comments and put them somewhere where you can go. So if you download Flipagram, you can actually create an edited video on your app really easily. It'll take you about 5 to 10 minutes. It's really easy to use. And then you can collect them all in your Flipagram account, and then you can link them somewhere. And while you watch, I don't know if you've noticed, but Flipagram is a good tool. The next thing I mentioned is Pinterest. So once you have your videos created, either in Perfect Video or Flipagram or any other tool that you have, I'm just suggesting these two to you because they're easy to use. And I think that's the most important thing. Everybody on Periscope is not necessarily a video editing pro. Periscope is a super easy tool to use, so I tried to find things that I found were super easy to create, edit a video, and host a video, and create kind of a gallery of scopes if people want to do that in a way that keeps everything put together. So with Perfect Video, you are going to have to save your video and upload it somewhere. With Flipagram, you can actually house everything on a Flipagram account. And so that allows you to make your own gallery right in Flipagram and just direct people to your Flipagram account. So in my case, it's flipagram.com/username. My username is Mila's page. But if you want to get a little more sophisticated or maybe share other people's scopes, what you can do is you can go to Pinterest, and what I've done here is you can create a board, and you can call it Periscope highlights or whatever you want. Describe it. I'm just going to flip over here. You can actually insert your Flipagram onto your Pinterest board. And so what ends up happening is you can create one board, and then you can have, let's just pretend these are my customer service social media videos, but let's just pretend they were all my Flipagrams. And you can keep adding them by adding a pin and getting the link from your Flipagram. So you can just add the link, and then all of a sudden you're going to have one spot. It's a popular tool. A lot of people know how to use Pinterest. You're going to get more people finding you through Pinterest because it's another platform, and you can have your own page that can serve as your portfolio. So it's very easy. You just create a board just like that on your Pinterest account. And then what you can do is you can just pin your different scopes that you've either created with Flipagram or onto YouTube. You can stick almost anything in here, and you can even include people's blog posts or other cool stuff. The other thing that I wanted to draw your attention to, and this is just an example by Christopher Penn. I'm going to show you this as an example because it may be useful to you in something other than scoping, but Christopher Penn is brilliant. He has a wonderful blog if you want to follow it, but this is one of my favorite things. He did this probably a couple of years ago, and what he did was he posted a whole bunch of different things about himself, different articles, different videos in pins, and he called it a social media resume. This is the example from the blog post he wrote about it. So you can do a similar thing using this example just because it's so well filled in. And if I scroll down, we'll see how much stuff he's got here. You could do this with scopes. You could pin web pages that you have and really create a portfolio on Pinterest very, very easily. So this is Christopher Penn. Let me just, here we go. He's got it right here. Christopher Penn is absolutely awesome. You see, he even created a card here with all of his information. And if you want to just read some very intelligent content on a regular basis, Christopher Penn is absolutely amazing. So you could also do something like this. So you could do either, as I mentioned, just a catalog of all your videos and just stick them all together. You could categorize them by what type of video you're doing. So it could be my scopes about travel, my scopes in Europe, my scopes in my backyard, my sunset scopes, scope tribe. You could make a board to collect all of these things. You could ask other people to contribute. So you can actually invite people to contribute to your scope board if you want. But there's a lot of opportunity through Pinterest that I wanted to draw your attention to because I don't think everyone always thinks about that. The other thing you can do is, let's say if you had, for example, a YouTube video. That's it. So if for some reason you decide that you want to have your entire scope uploaded and you don't want to edit it using one of the tools that we spoke about a couple of seconds ago, which is Perfect Video or Flipagram. Let's just say you don't want an edited video. You want to take your whole video of your scope and you want to put it online and you upload it to YouTube. Here's an example of one that I did. Okay. All you have to do to add this to Pinterest, if you have a pin it button, that's great. But if not, what you can do is you can just get the link and really, really easily, I'm just going to try and do this, copy. Let's create a board. Let's just do it together. So I've created the Pinterest board for my Periscope highlights. It very easily. You guys just basically watch me do it. I'm going to add this pin, and this one is going to be, from YouTube. So I'm just going to and hopefully it'll work. There we go. There's my video. I pin it. I can choose which board I want to stick it to, so I'm going to stick it to my new Pinterest board. I've got to find it because I have a lot. And it's pinned, it's done, and it starts to create it. Now, since I only have one pin in here, because I've created this with you guys, we don't really see the full picture, so we can look at something else where I have many pins. So people can look at all of your videos, and they can watch them, and they can share them, and new people will get to know you via the Pinterest community. And so this is how we can cross, you know, you can meet new people, and people interested in the topics that you talk about can be